discovering the underwater world's unexplored corners. There are more uncharted regions on Earth than there are on Mars and the Moon combined. A realm enveloped in everlasting darkness sits under the seas. This area has the potential to crush steel under certain conditions. But life persists in the most unlikely of ways. Beaming beings float through the pitch-black abyss, while unearthly signals reverberate from below. They came from is a mystery. Our celestial maps are more comprehensive than those of the ocean floor. Also down in these murky depths are mystifying mysteries, pyramids under the water, submarines gone, noises that defy logic, and unique, once-seen beings that vanish without a trace. Is there a reason why certain regions give off pulses that no vessel can detect? Why would such a large group of marine creatures gather miles below the water's surface in complete quiet? Who or what could be peering down from the bottom of the ocean? They are more than just stories. These are actual occurrences and true enigmas that lie just beneath the surface. Wind down for 3 hours of the ocean's finest. Perplexing mysteries. The mysteries surrounding the long-lost city of Dwara will continue long after you've found no solutions. The water has a peculiar greenish hue off the western coast of India, where the Arabian Sea meets the Gulf of Camby. Sea currents churn up layers of sediment that have been dormant for thousands of years. For a long time, fishermen have whispered about the strange patterns in the waves. Underneath the swell, there are small movements that show signs of an old object. Maybe the rumors they've been spreading are true. Nearly 20. Several kilometers offshore, sonar scans and divers have revealed the underwater contours of what seem to be man-made buildings. Steps cut into solid rock that are now inhabited by coral, rectangular depressions that seem like streets, and massive stone pieces in a linear arrangement. Some have speculated that these are the ruins of the legendary city of Dwara. Dwara is described as an engineering and architectural marvel in the Sanskrit epic Mahabharata. Krishna alone constructed this fortified metropolis. This was defined as a metropolis where gods and mankind coexist, a place where crystal palaces glisten with golden, silver, and bridges that link its islands and soar over the water. It was said to have gone down to sea at some point in the story. The legend of Dvarka was widely believed to be a fantastical, symbolic, and beautiful tale for many years. Nevertheless, this theory was called into question in 1983 by a group of researchers from India's National Institute of Oceanography. Researchers discovered a complicated configuration of geometric forms on the ocean floor. The sandstone walls, grid-like patterns, and what some thought was a dockyard were discovered at depths of 30 to 40 meters, giving the impression that they were uncovering the city's foundations. Stone tools, anchors, and fragments of pottery were discovered nearby by archaeologists. Strange artifacts that didn't seem to belong there, either because of their advanced design or their obvious placement. Several of the features have been carbon dated to as early as 7,500 BCE, making them older than the earliest known urban civilizations, such as Mesopotamia or the Indus Valley, perhaps 3,000 years ago. Is it conceivable that this area was ever home to a city of this age? Academics in the mainstream are being cautious about this. Even though most people agree that submerged structures do exist, people still disagree over where they came from and what they mean. There are many who believe these structures are the result of natural rock formed over many millennia by tectonic and tide movements. Still others think these are later buildings from the long-gone inland city of Dvarka, which is now underwater due to increasing sea levels and loss of land. This viewpoint, however, is not held by everyone. Because of its sophisticated layout, symmetry, and rediscovered objects that do not readily fit into conventional historical chronologies, the submerged site is seen by proponents of alternative history theories as proof of a vanished period in human civilization. Their main concern is the early existence of such a massive city and how it almost disappeared from history. Think about the cultural memory of Dwara, and this question gets deeper. Dwara is more than just a myth, unlike other long-lost cities. In Hindu scriptures, such as the Bhagavad Purana and the Skanda Purana, the location is described in great detail and with astonishingly consistent details. The city had green walls, golden gates, chariots galore, and most importantly, the ocean ate it up once Krishna left, as though the elements had recovered what should never have remained. Do you think these writings can help people remember an actual incident that happened before there was widespread? A record of events? Similar fates befell other coastal cities like Pavlo-Petri in Greece, Heraklion near Egypt, and Port Royal in Jamaica, all once thriving urban centers until the sea claimed them. In this context, Dvarka's story appears less implausible and more consistent with a global pattern. Nevertheless, mysteries persist. Why have extensive excavations remained limited? Are there deeper ruins hidden beneath layers of silt that current instruments cannot detect? What are the mythological accounts of celestial visitors, flying machines, and energy weapons? Are these metaphors or distorted memories of lost technologies? Some researchers even draw parallels to Plato's Atlantis, a radiant, highly advanced city eventually destroyed by divine forces and submerged beneath the ocean. These two civilizations, separated by continents, share eerily similar narratives, coincidence or convergence. Despite decades of exploration, no consensus has been reached. The city beneath the sea remains elusive both physically and intellectually. Scientists, historians, and spiritual seekers continue to explore its depths, examining both the physical remnants and the ancient texts. For now, Dvarka rests in silence, its ruined stones lying among drifting anemones and schools of fish. The ocean, patient and unyielding, remains a vigilant guardian of its secrets. Perhaps with future technology or a shift in perspective, we will one day grasp the complete picture. Until then, Dvarka exists as a threshold between history and myth where fact and faith intertwine, leaving one question unanswered. What if the ancient stories were true all along? The submerged city of Heraklion, moving away from the ancient echoes of Dvarka, half a world away, the sea holds another secret, buried beneath centuries of silt, sand, and silence. Off the northern Egyptian coast, near the Nile Delta's mouth, the Mediterranean's waters shimmer with deceptive tranquility under the sun's warmth. However, beneath the surface lies a city once thought to exist only in myth. For centuries, its name appeared in scattered texts, old scrolls, invading legends. Heraklion Orthanus, as the Egyptians knew it. A grand port, a city of temples, a place where gods and men were said to convene before vanishing without a trace, without ruins, without explanation. Then in 2000, a team of marine archaeologists led by Frank Gadio made an astonishing discovery. Utilizing advanced sonar and magnetometry equipment, they mapped the seabed near Abukur Bay, revealing a remarkable sight. Fragments of colossal statues, shattered temple columns, and inscriptions in both Greek and Egyptian. A once thriving city submerged beneath over 30 feet of water and 100 years of sediment. Heraklion was real, and its scale was immense. In the following years, the team unearthed sphinxes, granite slabs, ceremonial boats preserved in mud, and even pristine gold coins untouched since the city's submersion. Stone anchors, massive docks, and the remnants of a grand temple dedicated to the god Amun-Garb suggest Heraklion was more than just a port. It was a religious capital, a sacred pilgrimage site, and the primary entry point into Egypt for travelers from the Mediterranean. Herodotus, the Greek historian, once described a city where Helen of Troy and Paris supposedly sought refuge before the Trojan War, and where Hercules himself, the namesake for the Greek version of the city's name, had once visited. At the time, these accounts were dismissed as symbolic tales. But could they, like the legends of Dvarka, be rooted in historical memory? Mainstream scholars now place Heracles, zenith between the 6th and 2nd centuries B.C., a period of significant cultural exchange between Greek and Egyptian worlds. Its location at the delicate boundary between land and sea made it a hub of commerce and ceremony, but perhaps also a city destined for ruin by its very foundation. Some experts propose that a combination of factors led to its sudden disappearance: rising sea levels, earthquakes, and liquefaction, a process where waterlogged soil beneath a structure loses its solidity, causing buildings to sink. Evidence indicates that this part of the Nile Delta was geologically unstable. Could Heraclean have literally collapsed into the sea within days or weeks? It's plausible, but certain details complicate the narrative. Some artifacts were found remarkably well preserved, as if sealed by the sea rather than ravaged by it. Religious statues were discovered standing upright, undisturbed for over a millennium. Inscriptions on temple stones describe rituals invoking divine protection, ceremonies possibly intended to avert precisely the fate the city suffered. Furthermore, the city's layout was far more sophisticated than anticipated, with buildings constructed with precise orientation, channels carved in stone for water flow, and dikes reinforced with unusual materials. Was Heraclean more advanced than we have assumed? Could it have possessed architectural, astronomical, or spiritual knowledge that has been lost to time? Some French theories suggest the city was part of a larger Mediterranean network of sacred sites, aligned with star patterns or energy grids. Others speculate on the role of magnetic anomalies in the area, subtle fluctuations that, according to some researchers, may have disrupted navigational instruments for centuries. Sailors reported strange occurrences near Booker Bay long before the city's discovery, including spinning compasses, lights beneath the waves, and in some accounts, an unnaturally deep silence. Are these just stories, fishermen's tales passed down through generations, or clues pointing to something more elusive? There's also the puzzle of its complete disappearance from historical records. If Heraclean was such a vital port, why did it vanish so thoroughly? Cities decline, but they typically leave some trace. Was its erasure deliberate, or was its loss simply obscured by the chaos of time, conquerors, sandstorms, and shifting seas? Even today, only a fraction of Heraclean has been excavated, with most remaining buried beneath layers of sediment waiting. Some believe the most significant discoveries are yet to come: sealed chambers, intact scrolls, perhaps even artifacts of unknown purpose. The waters preserve as much as they destroy. Divers who have explored the site describe a haunting stillness. The way sunlight filters through the water, illuminating a fallen pillar here, a broken altar there, like ruins suspended in a dream. Time feels different beneath the waves, slower, more ancient. Heraclean's reality is confirmed, but its full story, its rise, its prosperity, and its sinking remains veiled. This leaves us contemplating how many other cities lie beneath our oceans, forgotten on maps, but remembered in myth. What else awaits discovery? Beneath the silence, beneath the silt, just beyond the reach of light. The sea holds its secrets tightly, the mysteries of Canopus. Not far from the silk-covered ruins of Heraclean, the seabed holds another secret, a place mentioned in ancient texts and whispered among poets. A place once vibrant with music, ritual, and pleasure. Now only fragments remain, shattered statues and broken columns scattered across the muddy floor of the Mediterranean Sea. This was Canopus, a city where myth and memory intertwined, where gods were honored, empires passed through, and where perhaps something more enigmatic once stirred. Situated at the westernmost edge of the Nile Delta, Canopus was one of ancient Egypt's most revered cities, particularly during the Greco-Roman period. By day, it was a bustling port, and by night a city illuminated by oil lamps echoing with the sounds of processions, offerings, and distant lyres. It was celebrated for its temples, sanctuaries, and extravagant festivals in honor of Serapis, Osiris, and Isis, which attracted worshippers from across the ancient world. But today, Canopus lies underwater, submerged and broken, resting beneath the same silty waters that now conceal Heraclean. Hidden until the early 2000s, marine archaeologists began uncovering its remains, revealing it as a twin lost in the tides of time, seemingly sleeping beside its sister city as if swept away by the sea in a single quiet breath. The ruins are hauntingly beautiful, with divers describing giant statues of deities lying half-buried in the sand. Their faces still serene despite the weight of centuries, and pillars once part of grand halls and sacred courtyards now leaning at unnatural angles, softened by coral and time. Ceramic vessels and inscriptions offer glimpses into trade, devotion, and daily life. Ordinary and extraordinary moments frozen in deep water silence. What caused the city's demise? Conventional explanations again point to the shifting geology of the Nile Delta. Like Heraclean, Canopus was built on soft, unstable ground, an area vulnerable to seismic activity, flooding, and the slow encroachment of the sea. Over time, land subsidence and rising waters may have gradually pulled the city under inch by inch, a process so gradual that no single event marked its end. Yet somehow, the city disappeared almost completely from view. However, certain details raise questions. Some sections of Canopus appear to have collapsed rapidly, as if triggered by a sudden violent shift, with stone structures torn apart and walls seemingly pulled sideways before sinking. Could an earthquake or a series of them have accelerated the city's destruction? Historical records describe tremors in the region powerful enough to be felt across the Mediterranean. Could have been destroyed in one of these events, its fate sealed by both natural and unforeseen forces. And what about the city's spiritual significance? Canis was more than a trading hub. It was a holy site, a center of mystery and transformation. The Temple of Serapis, dedicated to a synchric deity created to unite Egyptian and Greek religious traditions, stood at its heart. Pilgrims came here seeking healing visions and divine communion, with rituals involving sacred water, music, incense, and trance states practiced within its walls. Were these spiritual practices merely symbolic, or were they, as some have speculated, rooted in something deeper, connected to the land or perhaps the sea? In later centuries, legends emerged, some describing Canopus as a place where time seemed to slow, where people experienced strange dreams and felt the presence of unseen entities. Others claimed the city was cursed, punished for its decadence, or for daring to approach divine power too closely. Then there are modern fringe theories asserting the presence of unnatural magnetic fields in the area, anomalies in sonar data, and architectural alignments pointing to celestial events. Some suggest that Canopus may have been built upon older foundations, structures far more ancient than the Greco-Roman city known to history. Could there be layers beneath the ruins, forgotten monuments, perhaps even remnants of a civilization long lost to the flood of ages? As of now, no definitive answers have surfaced. The Mediterranean tightly guards its secrets, and excavation beneath the seabed remains challenging and costly. However, each new discovery brings us closer. A fragment of granite here, a piece of sculpture there. Clues that speak of a world once full of life, ritual, and reverence, now drowned in silence, yet a silence that hums with possibility. What more lies beneath the sand and salt? Could still hold the keys to a forgotten understanding of ancient Egypt, its beliefs, fears, and relationship with the sea? Why were cities of such importance built on such fragile ground? And what drew them to this precise location repeatedly? Perhaps it was faith, perhaps trade, or perhaps something even older. As we mentally drift past the ruins, it's difficult not to feel a quiet awe, imagining the oil lamps flickering along the canals, the sound of footsteps on temple stone, the scent of lotus and incense in the air, all swallowed by water, yet not forgotten. And we are left with a single question echoed in every ripple, every buried statue, every fading inscription. What else lies beneath the waves? waiting for the light to find it. Port Royal, a city of pirates and mystery. While the Mediterranean reveals its drowned temples and forgotten sanctuaries, the Caribbean holds its own sunken secrets. Fragments of a world lost not to gradual decay, but to sudden, catastrophic violence. Beneath the tranquil turquoise waters of Jamaica's southeastern coast lies one of the most infamous underwater cities in the Western Hemisphere. Scattered across the seabed, broken stone building foundations, collapsed timber frames, and rusted hinges recount the story of a city once known as the wickedest city on earth. This is Port Royal, a name that once echoed through the New World as a warning. In the 17th century, Port Royal was a flourishing port, pulsating with energy, wealth, and shadow. Pirates, privateers, and merchants shared its narrow streets, the air thick with the scent of rum and salt. Gold coins exchanged hands in gambling dens, while ships from Europe, Africa, and the Americas anchored in the harbor, their sails laden with treasure, spices, and stolen cargo. Strategically positioned at the mouth of Kingston Harbor, Port Royal was the jewel of English Jamaica, a crossroads of trade, and a refuge for outlaws. However, on the morning of June the 7th, 1692, the sea claimed it. Within minutes, the ground beneath the city liquefied. A massive earthquake with its epicenter just offshore shook the town's foundations. Buildings buckled, streets split open, and as the soil turned to liquid sand, entire sections of Port Royal began to slide into the sea. Witnesses described the harbor swallowing homes whole, the church bell ringing once before disappearing into the waves. Over 30 acres of the city sank beneath the water along with more than 2,000 inhabitants. What remains is a snapshot frozen in time. Today, Port Royal is one of the few sunken cities in the New World accessible as an archaeological site. Divers have recovered clay pipes still packed with tobacco, pewter dishes resting on collapsed tables, and even unopened bottles of wine. Whole streets, wooden beams, stone walls, and walkways remain remarkably intact beneath the sediment, preserved by the harbor floors and noxic conditions. Yet beyond its historical value, there's something else. A strange stillness, a persistent tension, as if the submerged city is still listening, still remembering. Some have long asserted that Port Royal's destruction was more than a natural disaster, interpreting it as a form of divine reckoning. Religious figures of the time viewed it as divine punishment for the city's debauchery, a biblical judgment against piracy, slavery, and sin. Others have suggested the event may not have been entirely geological. Peculiarities exist, such as eyewitness accounts describing not merely collapsing buildings, but a sudden drop with streets vanishing into invisible chasms and entire individuals reportedly disappearing without a trace, neither crushed nor drowned, but consumed by the earth. Could the shifting sands have concealed more than just structures? Could deeper voids exist beneath the surface, swallowing entire blocks into unknown pockets of underwater terrain? Some fringe researchers speculate about a submerged fault line or cavern system beneath the Jamaican shelf, possibly ancient or unexplored. Sonar imaging has revealed unusual formations beneath parts of the sunken city, hollow spaces and angular cuts in the rock that do not appear entirely natural. Are these simply remnants of the earthquake's violence? Or were there older foundations, pre-colonial structures upon which Port Royal was built? Indigenous lore predating European arrival speaks of areas around the harbor where the land breathes and hums, phrases once considered metaphorical references to tidal flows. However, modern acoustic sensors have detected low-frequency vibrations in the area, too faint to be seismic and too consistent to be random. Could Port Royal's collapse have been more than a disaster of soil and stone? Was it, in a sense, an echo of older forces at play beneath the island itself? Even the human element of Port Royal holds mystery. Before the earthquake, records show that some residents, particularly enslaved Africans and Maroons, refused to reside within the city walls, opting for higher ground or the forested interior. Some believe the city was cursed, resting on unstable ground. Not only physically, but spiritually. Was this cultural memory intuition, or simply a coincidence later shaped by tragedy? Like many sunken cities, the ocean maintains its distance, covering everything while revealing very little. Diving at the site remains limited. And while artifacts are continually recovered from the seabed, each offers only a glimpse, never the complete picture. Even today, Port Royal is not entirely still. The seafloor shifts with silk covering and uncovering ruins as currents dictate. Historians Dees and geophysicists continue their investigations, but the full story of that fateful morning in 1692 may never be known. Thus, Port Royal remains suspended, part history, part cautionary tale, and part unresolved mystery. Was it simply an act of nature, a disaster predicted by geology alone? Or was there something deeper beneath the sand, beneath the stories, beneath the sea itself? The Roman retreat of Baiae, transitioning. From the sunken ruins of Port Royal in the Caribbean, we journey across time and ocean to the shadowy fringes of the Roman Empire, to a place mentioned in hushed tones by ancient poets, feared by moralists, and envied by emperors. A city that once glittered with marble, filled with laughter and indulgence, and now lies silent beneath the waves. This is Baiae, a city lost not to conquest or fire, but to the gradual rise of the sea. The waters of the Gulf of Naples here are warm and calm, touched by Mediterranean light. Yet, just beneath the surface, something extraordinary sleeps. Columns stand upright on the ocean floor. Mosaics still faintly shimmer in the filtered sunlight. In stone courtyards and private chambers remain preserved in an eerie stillness, as if awaiting the return of their occupants. Bay was no ordinary Roman city built amidst volcanic hills and thermal springs. It served as a retreat for the elite, Rome's equivalent of a modern luxury resort. Wealthy senators, generals, and emperors constructed sprawling villas here, complete with bathhouse, libraries, dining halls, and panoramic terraces overlooking the sea. Julius Caesar and Nero were among its notable visitors. But Bai's allure extended beyond status. It possessed something else, something more ancient. The region was characterized by geothermal activity, with steaming sulfur springs flowing through its foundations, and the air itself was said to carry a faint scent of brimstone. Roman physicians praised its healing waters, while mystics claimed the place was imbued with divine energy, and some even believed the underworld was closer here, its veil thinner. And in a sense, they were right. The ground beneath Baiae lies within the Phlegraean Fields, a vast, restless volcanic caldera that has for centuries risen and fallen in slow, heaving rhythms. A geological phenomenon known as bradyseism. Land can ascend by meters over decades, then sink again with little warning. Baiae, once perched proudly on the coastline, was eventually engulfed as the land subsided and the sea advanced. Mainstream science attributes the city's submersion to this natural process of tectonic shifts in bradyism, a slow, inevitable descent. However, questions persist. Why here? Why Baiae when other coastal cities survived? Baiae not only sank, but almost vanished from cultural memory, with few detailed accounts of its decline surviving. Excavations only began in the 20th century, and many of its most ornate ruins remained unknown until sonar and underwater archaeology revealed them in the 1960s. Today, visitors can explore an astonishing submerged landscape of bath complexes, atriums, statues, and streets, all lying beneath just a few meters of water. What stories do these ruins still hold? Divers have discovered rooms with elaborate fresco still clinging to the walls. Portraits of nymphs, gods, and forgotten nobles gazing from beneath centuries of sediment. In one submerged villa, a mosaic depicts sea creatures and hybrid beasts, symbols not just of leisure, but perhaps of ritual and deeper beliefs. Some scholars wonder if Ba was more than a pleasure retreat, suggesting it may have been in part a spiritual site, a place of initiation or pilgrimage. The combination of natural heat, mineral springs, and subterranean structures evokes older traditions predating Roman rule. Nearby, the cave of the Common Civil was said to house a prophetic priestess who entered trance states and spoke with the voice of Apollo. Could Baiae have had similar functions? Were some of its grand villas built at top older sacred ground? There are hints. Beneath one complex, now underwater, lie tunnels and chambers carved directly into volcanic stone. Some have theorized these were used in mystery rites, rituals veiled in secrecy and performed in darkness for purposes now lost to history. Others dismiss these claims, suggesting they were merely service corridors or sissons. Nevertheless, the questions remain. More fringe interpretations go further, pointing to anomalies in magnetic readings around the site. Architectural patterns in the submerged foundations that may align with celestial events and oral legends passed down through generations, speaking of a sunken gate near the shore, a portal to a realm beneath the earth. Are these simply stories or echoes of something deeper? Even the timing of Baiae's decline invites scrutiny. The city thrived during Rome's peak, yet by the 4th century CE, it had largely emptied. Christian writers condemned it as a place of excess and vice, a Sodom of the Roman world. Was it merely abandoned for moral reasons, or did its volcanic instability play a more immediate role? Some believe seismic activity may have been increasing at the time, with tremors driving residents away even before the land began to sink. But again, records are scarce. The silence surrounding Bay's fall is as mysterious as the ruins themselves. Today, marine archaeologists continue their work, carefully brushing silt from statues, mapping ancient floor plans, and documenting fresco reveal for the first time in centuries. The city is becoming clearer, yet its purpose remains elusive. Why did Bay with all its grandeur sink beneath the sea while so many Roman cities endured? Was it simply the earth reclaiming its own? Or did the land itself respond to something unseen, something forgotten in time? As we drift above its silent streets, we are left to wonder what else sleeps beneath these waters. What still waits to be remembered just beyond the reach of light and sound? The Neolithic settlement of Atlat-Yam. Journeying east across the Mediterranean from the submerged Roman courtyards of Bai, we encounter a coastline far older and a mystery buried as much in time as in silt and sea. Off the coast of modern-day Israel, where the hills of Haifa gently slope into the eastern Mediterranean, lies a place few have heard of, but none forget once discovered. Just a few meters beneath the quiet blue surface rests a phantom of humanity's distant past. Atlat-Yam, a Neolithic settlement submerged nearly 9,000 years ago. The seafloor here is calm and undisturbed, the ruins lying flat, softened by sand and algae, untouched by the chaotic waves above. Yet, as divers descend through the shifting light, stone structures begin to emerge. Foundations of houses, stone wells, and pathways still marked by tools once used by hands long turned to dust. There is no grandeur here, no temples or golden treasures. Yet, there's something profoundly haunting. These were not the creations of emperors or kings, but of early humans. People who cultivated the land, raised families, and built a community beside the sea. A society that thrived before writing, before metal, before recorded history. Atlat-Yam was discovered in the 1980s during underwater construction, and what archaeologists found astonished them. A preserved village dating to around 6,900 BC, complete with rectangular homes, hearths, and stone-paved courtyards. Dozens of human skeletons were recovered, including a remarkably intimate scene of a woman and child buried together, arms intertwined. Nearby, researchers uncovered a stone circle of 7 upright megaliths arranged around a freshwater spring. Their purpose remains unclear. Were they markers for a ritual site, a primitive calendar, or a communal gathering place. The stones bear cup marks, small deliberate carvings suggesting symbolic use. For a culture without written language, these features speak volumes, but their exact message remains a puzzle. One of the most intriguing aspects of Atlet Yam is what it reveals and conceals about the Neolithic world, a time when humans were transitioning from nomadic hunter-gatherers to settled agriculturalists. The residents of Atlet Yam cultivated grains, raised livestock, and harvested seafood. Their lives were deeply connected to the land and the sea, but then the sea rose. Around 6,300 BCE, Atlet Yam disappeared beneath the waves. The reasons for its submergence are not fully understood, with the prevailing theory being gradual sea level rise linked to melting glaciers at the end of the last ice age, a slow encroachment that eventually swallowed the village. However, other possibilities exist. A massive landslide off the continental shelf may have triggered a localized tsunami, an event capable of flooding low-lying settlements instantly. This idea, while still debated, is supported by sediment layers in the region showing sudden marine intrusions. Could have been a combination of both. A prolonged retreat followed by a final cataclysmic wave? Even more curiously, the residents of Atlet Yam appear to have made no attempt to escape. Archaeological evidence suggests the village was abandoned suddenly, but without panic, with personal items, tools, and structures left intact and undisturbed. It's as if the people simply vanished or accepted their fate. Why didn't they move inland? Did they not perceive the signs, or did something else anchor them to this place? Fringe theories propose that Atlet Yam may have held spiritual or cosmological significance with its location near a freshwater spring, its megalithic structures, and its burial practices hinting at a belief system deeply connected to the land and sea. Perhaps they viewed the ocean not merely as a threat, but as a gateway. There is also the question of the early inhabitants' level of advancement. Some have cautiously speculated about the presence of lost knowledge, navigation, engineering, or symbolic systems not typically associated with Neolithic cultures. Underwater imaging has revealed potential alignments in the site's layout that may correspond to solstices or lunar phases, although others argue this is coincidence, interpreting ancient patterns with modern perspectives. Nevertheless, the questions persist. Why is Atlet Yam so remarkably preserved when many similar settlements have vanished without a trace? What did these early people understand about their environment and the movements of water and earth that we have yet to fully grasp? And what does it signify that a society so ancient and distant from our modern world left behind traces of care, structure, and perhaps even reverence? The sea here has served as both protector and destroyer, concealing the site from human eyes for millennia, preserving it in silence. But with each new dive, each layer of silt removed, the story becomes more intricate. A well, a stone circle, a mother and child. These are not just artifacts. They are echoes, whispers from a time when the world was young and humans stood on the edge of the known. Was Atlet Yam simply a village drowned by time? Or was it a chapter in a deeper story? One still being written by tides and tectonics, by memory and myth, the sunken town of Rungholt, leaving the warmth of the Mediterranean and the sunken stone circles of Atlet Yam. Behind, we turn toward a colder, harsher coast where the sea is gray, the sky often low, and the tides seem to possess a will of their own. Here, in the mudflats of the North Frian Wadden Sea, lies a legend swallowed by storm and salt. Rungholt, sometimes referred to as the Atlantis of the North Sea. At first glance, little is visible, stretching for miles off the coast of northern Germany. The Wadden Sea is a vast, shifting landscape of tidal flats and marshlands, a place where the boundary between land and water is constantly in flux. Twice daily, the ocean recedes, exposing a world of slick mud, shallow pools, and the whispering calls of seabirds, only for the tide to return and erase the land once more. But beneath this landscape, buried under centuries of silt, peat, and salt water, lie the remains of town. Its name is spoken softly in local folklore, sometimes with awe, sometimes with caution. Unsolved. According to historical records and legends alike, Rungholt was once a prosperous trading port, part of the medieval kingdom of Freya. During the 13th and 14th centuries, the region experienced thriving maritime commerce with ships arriving and departing laden with salt, wool, and grain. Canals crisscrossed the flat countryside, connecting villages and marketplaces, and Rungholt was said to be the jewel among them, a wealthy settlement whose church towers rose proudly above the marshes. But all vanished. On January the 16th, 1362, a violent storm, later known as the Groenlandanka, or Great Drowning of Men, swept across the North Sea. Fueled by high tides in a deep low-pressure system, the storm surge inundated vast stretches of the coast, reportedly claiming the lives of tens of thousands. Rungholt, according to chronicles, was among the towns swallowed whole by the sea. What makes Rungholt so intriguing is not just its disappearance, but its rapidity. Some accounts claim the storm struck without warning, while others suggest the sea rose not only in fury, but with intent. Local legend tells of a town too arrogant and proud whose inhabitants mocked the church in the natural order. Some versions describe a farmer who taunted a priest by watering his fields on the Sabbath, daring God to intervene, suggesting the storm was not merely weather, but divine judgment. Of course, historians and climatologists offer more grounded explanations. The region's geography is uniquely vulnerable, with much of it lying at or below sea level, protected only by fragile dikes that were primitive in the 14th century. The land itself, composed of soft peat and alluvial soil, was easily eroded. Coupled with shifting currents and rising sea levels, the fate of a town like Rungholt was tragically plausible. Yet, despite centuries of searching, no complete map of Rungholt has ever been confirmed. For decades, it was regarded more as myth than historical memory. Even today, its exact location remains partially obscured, but fragments have begun to surface. In the early 20th century, after severe storms scoured the tidal flats, remnants of medieval structures started to appear. Timbers from buildings, bricks from walls, and shards of pottery. Archaeologists joined the search, mapping subtle patterns hidden in the mud. Then in 1921, the remains of a church foundation were discovered near the Haulig island of Sudfall. Over time, researchers uncovered drainage ditches, wooden paths, and remnants of dikes, indicating not just a village, but a complex and engineered landscape. Rungholt, it seemed, was real. Nevertheless, mysteries persist. Despite material evidence, no complete structure has survived. Most of what is known comes from fragments. Scattered bricks, decayed beams, lost artifacts retrieved from beneath layers of sediment. The tides both reveal and conceal, and the questions only deepen. Why did a town with such clearly advanced construction succumb so easily? Why were so few survivors mentioned in contemporary records? Could the entire settlement have been lost in a single night? Some have proposed that Rungholt was not a single town, but part of a larger network, an early urban center whose full extent is yet to be understood. Others suggest that stories surrounding its wealth and decadence may have been exaggerated after the fact, serving as a cautionary tale used by later writers and preachers. Then there are stranger theories. Some believe Rungholt, like Atlantis, has become a symbol of lost knowledge, a society that understood how to coexist with the sea, but ultimately failed to heed its warnings, pointing to the precision of its dikes, the scale of its hydraulic engineering, and the efficiency of its trade networks. Could Rungholt have possessed a deeper understanding of environmental balance, an understanding lost when the storm struck? Still others ponder the cause of the 1362 storm itself. Was it merely a natural disaster, an unfortunate confluence of meteorological factors, or part of a broader climatic shift? The mid-14th century marked the beginning of the Little Ice Age, a period of cooling that brought erratic weather, crop failures, and social upheaval across Europe. Was the drowning of Rungholt just one ripple in a larger chaotic pattern. Whatever the truth, the sea's influence over Rungholt is ongoing. To this day, archaeologists venture onto the tidal flats during low tide, navigating by GPS and memory, hoping the next storm might uncover a clue. With each shift in the sand, a new piece may emerge. A clasp, a tool, a buried foundation. But each tide also threatens to erase what remains, sweeping it further into obscurity. Thus, the town remains in limbo, not entirely legend, not fully understood. Is Rungholt merely a medieval cautionary tale, or a lost chapter of human resilience and hubris? What else lies hidden beneath the silt and salt, waiting for the sea to speak once more? The submerged villa of Pissen. Transitioning from stories of villages swallowed by storms, we now turn our attention to the soft murmur of ancient walls. Walls that have withstood the steady advance of time and tide, yet remain shrouded in mystery. Tucked away on the serene shores of Italy's Adriatic coast, far from the bustling streets of modern cities, lies a submerged treasure whose name is nearly forgotten by history. Villa Pisan. Unlike the grand sunken cities or monuments of myth, Villa Pisan was once a quiet Roman estate, a place for leisure, luxury, and private contemplation. The villa was part of a sprawling complex perched above the sea on a gentle rise near the modern town of Corole, not far from Venice. But today, it exists not above ground but beneath the waves. Diving into these waters is like stepping into a quiet dream where time itself seems to pause. The sea is a cool, clear blue, its depths revealing the contours of stonework, ancient walls weathered yet still defined, and the faint outline of mosaic floors decorated with geometric patterns hinting at once intricate designs. Here the remnants of luxury persist, not in the grand halls of empires or emperors, but in the vestiges of an aristocratic retreat. It is difficult to imagine the villa as anything other than a forgotten corner of the Roman Empire. Its story, like many, begins with time and tide. When it was first constructed, likely during the early century CE, it must have been an elegant haven overlooking the Adriatic, a place of escape for Roman elites, a center of social gatherings and wealth. The surrounding land was probably cultivated, thriving with vineyards and olive groves, staples of the Mediterranean lifestyle. Yet its existence was not eternal. Sometime during the 5th century, the villa began to sink, likely due to a combination of natural shifts in the land and sea. Earthquakes, storms, and the gradual rise of the Adriatic all contributed to the area's progressive flooding. By the time the medieval period commenced, the villa was already well submerged. Today, only the barest remains protrude above the waterline, with much of its grandeur hidden beneath layers of silt and sediment. Nevertheless, what remains is sufficient to spark curiosity and wonder. The first significant discovery of Villa Pisan occurred in the 1960s when fishermen and local divers chanced upon the submerged site while navigating shallow waters. Over time, archaeologists became interested, carefully mapping out sections of the villa, including a central courtyard, several rooms, and what appeared to be the remnants of an elaborate bathhouse. The most remarkable feature was the discovery of well-preserved mosaics, floral patterns, and geometric designs hinting at the villa's former splendor. Despite the lack of fully excavated structures, some believe the villa's mosaics could offer a clue to its eventual abandonment. The patterns suggest the villa may have been part of a larger complex, thriving center that at some point transitioned from a coastal retreat to a working estate. Could the sea have played a role in this transition? Were the waters rising as the region's structure changed? These questions remain unanswered. As researchers examine the remains of Villa Pisan, they are left with more questions than answers. What caused the estate's final collapse? Was it simply the relentless force of nature? Storms, floods, the rise of the Adriatic, or was there something more? The villa's mosaics, which depict both domestic scenes and nature motifs, could suggest a connection to higher cultural or even religious practices. The remnants of what might be a bathhouse are equally telling, suggesting that Villapon may not have been solely a place of leisure, but one tied to Roman practices of health and purification, activities often linked to spiritual or social rituals. Perhaps the most compelling mystery lies in the site's preservation. Unlike many submerged Roman structures, Villa Passan remains relatively untouched. Its mosaics have not been scoured away by the relentless movement of tides, and its stonework, though eroded, still stands, giving the impression that the villa was not simply forgotten, but hidden away, preserved by the quiet sea. Why has Villa Passan remained so elusive despite its proximity to Venice and the wealth of historical exploration in the region, receiving little attention compared to other underwater Roman ruins? Is it because the site is too submerged, its remains too scattered, or is there something more subtle at play? Something the sea, and its eternal patience, is yet to reveal? Some have speculated that untold treasures are buried beneath the villa's floor. Perhaps statues, relics, or artifacts of immense value awaiting discovery. Others suggest the villa was more than just a home for the elite, potentially playing a significant role in the region's trade or politics. Could the site have been a gathering place for prominent figures of the time? Was there an important meeting or event that led to its eventual submersion? The natural erosion of the site is also a significant factor. As centuries passed, more and more artifacts were claimed by the sea. This constant interplay between discovery and destruction has led some to believe that Villapon is somehow meant to remain hidden, preserved not for human eyes, but for the ocean's quiet keeping. Could it be that the villa was abandoned not out of necessity, but as part of a cultural or spiritual act of surrender? The sea, after all, does not forget. It remembers the lives and legacies swallowed by its depths. The questions raised by the villa's remains are not easily answered. How many more stories lie buried beneath these waters, silent, waiting to be understood? Is Villa San merely a quiet relic of the past? Or does it hold a secret the sea has kept hidden for over a millennium? What truths might still lie within its submerged rooms, waiting for a time when they may finally be revealed? The enigmatic Bimini Road. Moving from a sunken villa pan, we shift to another enigma, just beneath the waves, yet this one is distinct from the others. Here, where the turquoise waters of the Bahamas meet the soft white sands of the Bimini Islands, a strange formation lies hidden, half submerged, half forgotten. The Bimini Road, often called the Bimini Wall. This submerged stretch of stone pavement has ignited wonder, curiosity, and speculation for decades. Located just off the coast of North Bimini Island, the formation consists of large rectangular limestone blocks arranged in what appears to be a straight line extending underwater. From the surface, the road is barely discernible, with only occasional glimpses of submerged rocks. However, when the waters are calm and the light falls just right, the shape takes form. The stones seem perfectly aligned, as if deliberately placed by human hands. While it might initially appear to be an ordinary natural formation, a geological anomaly shaped by time and tide, the precision of the blocks and their unsettling regularity have led many to question if this is solely nature's work. Some believe the Bimini Road is evidence of an ancient man-made structure stretching over half a mile beneath the waves, forming a path that some speculate once led to a forgotten city or a civilization lost time. These stones, roughly 10 to 13 m long and 45 to 6 m wide, do not appear to be the result of natural erosion. Instead, they resemble the remnants of a road, a pathway deliberately constructed to lead somewhere. There is something undeniably intriguing about the blocks, resting side by side in perfect alignment. Their apparent precision challenging our understanding of ancient civilizations' capabilities. Could this be evidence of a civilization predating known history, possessing engineering skill and craftsmanship beyond what we typically attribute to ancient cultures? But which civilization could have left such a structure? The most popular theory, which has captured many imaginations, is that the Bimini Road is the remnants of Atlantis linking the formation to the legendary island city. Described by the philosopher Plato, an advanced, wealthy, and powerful civilization eventually consumed by the ocean in a single day and night of catastrophic floods. Plato's account of Atlantis, though often considered myth, has fueled the imaginations of adventurers and theorists for centuries. Some believe the Bimini Road provides evidence that Atlantis did indeed exist and that its final remnants lie submerged in the waters around the Bimini Islands. The argument is compelling, at least superficially. Plato's dialogues described Atlantis as a great city beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the modern-day Strait of Gibraltar that sank after a catastrophic event. Could the Bimini Road be a fragment of this lost civilization? A small piece of a puzzle hidden beneath the waves for millennia? However, skeptics offer a more grounded explanation. Geologists propose that the Bimini Road is a natural formation shaped over thousands of years by currents and waves. The limestone blocks, they suggest, could be the result of an ancient coral reef or naturally occurring structure known as a pavement reef, a type of limestone shelf forming in shallow coastal waters over time. Such natural formations are not uncommon in the ocean, where sedimentation, erosion, and water movement can create shapes that appear remarkably artificial. Could the Bimini Road be one such formation? Its unsettlingly straight lines and right angles merely the result of random natural forces. Yet, even those who dismiss the Atlantis theory must admit that the Bimini Road remains a fascinating and unexplained feature. Its location in the heart of the Caribbean, just off the coast of a small, easily overlooked island, is puzzling. The stones are composed of a specific type of limestone found only in certain Caribbean regions, raising questions about how and why they came to be arranged in such an ordered fashion in the shallow waters of the Bahamas. Some researchers also note that the formation appears to connect with another nearby submerged feature, a larger set of underwater structures that some theorists claim could represent a larger city, a network of roads, or even a port. If the Bimini Road is indeed part of a more extensive site, what might it lead to? Could more submerged ruins be waiting to be discovered by the tides? Perhaps even more perplexing is that this mystery remains unresolved. Despite numerous investigations and surveys, no definitive conclusion has been reached. Archaeologists, oceanographers, and historians have all weighed in, but the lack of concrete evidence leaves room for doubt. The more we learn, the more questions arise. Was the Bimini Road part of a long-lost civilization, or is it merely a natural anomaly? An uncanny series of rocks shaped by time and tides? Theories abound, each as compelling as the last. Perhaps it is a man-made structure, a road leading to something greater, lost beneath the sea. Or perhaps it is simply a natural formation that has captured our imaginations by appearing too perfect to be purely geological. And what are the possible connection to Atlantis? Could the Bimini Road be a sign that the legend is not just myth, but a shadow of something real, something more ancient, mysterious, and profound than we can yet comprehend? What is the true nature of the Bimini Road? Is it an ancient path, a forgotten piece of history, or simply the ocean's playful illusion? Perhaps, like so many ocean mysteries, the answer is not yet meant to be known. The sea guards its secrets closely, revealing only what it chooses when it chooses. And perhaps the Bimini Road, like other sunken wonders, will remain submerged in uncertainty, awaiting the day when the tide offers a clearer view. The submerged temples of Mahabalipuram. As the waves of the Bay of Bengal gently lap against India's coast, a secret lies beneath the water, a hidden world frozen in time. Deep beneath the surface in the silken depths off the coast of Mahabalipuram, India, lie the ruins of a once great city, long believed to have vanished without a trace. The submerged temples of Mahabalipuram, a mysterious, awe-inspiring complex of ancient stone structures, await just below the waves. Their existence was first revealed in the 2000s when sonar scans detected an enigmatic pattern offshore, a collection of submerged walls and statues resembling a grand architectural site. Over the years, these ruins have become one of the most profound mysteries of the Indian Ocean. What happened to this once flourishing city, and why did it disappear into the sea's depths? Mahabharapam, located on India's southeastern coast, was a thriving port city during the 7th and 8th centuries under the Pallava dynasty, renowned for its magnificent temples, rock-cut sculptures, and intricate carvings, serving as a cultural and religious hub. One of its most famous landmarks is the Shore Temple perched at the W's edge, built in the 8th century. But beyond this well-known site lies the submerged wonder that has captivated researchers and explorers. The discovery of the submerged temples has raised as many questions as it has answered. The remains lie approximately 15 m below the surface, a depth suggesting the temples were submerged sometime after their construction. The site's layout resembles other structures in Mahabalipuram, featuring large stone blocks, intricate carvings, and what appear to be giant statues. From the surface, there's little hint of the lost temple's grandeur beneath the water. But upon diving, the site's complexity and scale become apparent. The most remarkable feature is the evidence of intentional construction. Massive stone structures, including pillars and temples, scattered across the seabed, many showing signs of careful carving and shaping. The architecture closely aligns with the Pallava style found elsewhere in Mahabalipuram, suggesting these underwater ruins were part of the same kingdom. The existence of these submerged structures has led some to believe they represent a once grand part of the city, perhaps even the main temple complex or the city's central religious hub. Theories about the city's submersion are numerous. One prevailing theory suggests a massive natural disaster, such as an earthquake or tsunami, caused the sinking. Coastal regions are often vulnerable to tectonic shifts, and India's southern coast is no stranger to seismic activity. The region's history includes sudden, catastrophic events like the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Could a similar event have occurred centuries ago, bringing an entire city and its sacred sites beneath the waves? Ancient Indian texts like the Mahabharata and the Puranas are filled with references to vast floods and the sinking of cities. While often viewed as mythological, some wonder if these texts preserve memories of real historical events. Could these submerged temples be the remnants of a city lost not only to the sea, but to time itself? In addition to mainstream natural disaster theories, some propose a more speculative explanation that Mahabalipuram was deliberately submerged for cultural or religious reasons, or as a result of political turmoil. Could there be a hidden, deliberate reason behind the city's sinking as suggested by certain fringe theories? Some even wonder if the temples were constructed with an awareness of potential floods or rising sea levels, indicating foresight of eventual submersion. Could the Pallava dynasty, aware of changing tides, have created a city with the intention that it would eventually disappear beneath the sea? While this theory lacks concrete evidence, it adds a layer of mystique to the submerged temple's ongoing enigma. Even without delving into speculation, the evidence of human ingenuity and religious devotion found beneath the sea is undeniably striking. It's not just the temples and statues that intrigue, but the skill involved in their construction. The sheer scale of the architecture combined with the precision of the carvings suggests a society deeply invested in both artistic expression and religious dedication. How did such a grand city rise to power only to be swallowed by the sea? What role did the temples play in Mahabalipuram society, and what did their submersion mean for its inhabitants? As of now, the submerged temples remain largely unexplored due to challenging site conditions, murky waters, depth, and distance from shore. Nevertheless, occasional reports from divers and underwater archaeologists describe a place frozen in time with stone structures and statues still standing, though worn by centuries of salt water and shifting tides. The mystery of the submerged temples of Mahabalipuram persists, unresolved and uncertain. Some scholars believe further exploration and research could yield answers, offering insights into the Pelaba dynasty and the lost city. Others wonder if the sea and its infinite patience will forever keep its secrets. Was this a great city that fell victim to nature's relentless power? Or is something more hidden beneath the surface? Something yet to be discovered. As waves gently roll over the site today, the temples remain submerged, waiting for the next tide to reveal more of their story. Perhaps like many ocean mysteries, the truth is hidden beneath the surface, awaiting the right moment to surface. Until then, the submerged temples of Mahabalipuram continue to whisper their secrets to those who listen closely to the deep. The Cabo de San Antonio ruins off the coast of Cuba, beneath the deep blue waves of the Caribbean Sea, lies a haunting enigma. The Cabo de San Antonio ruins. Submerged for centuries, these ruins have remained hidden, their true origins shrouded in mystery. Only in recent years has this underwater site attracted the attention of explorers, divers, and archaeologists. Scattered across the seabed are what appear to be man-made stone structures, meticulously arranged and deliberately shaped. But who built them and why? These questions continue to defy definitive answers. Located off Cuba's western tip near the Cape of San Antonio, the site was first discovered in the 2000s when sonar scans identified unusual patterns on the ocean floor. Jagged stone formations, too structured to be purely natural and hinting at human influence, were found at a depth of around 650 feet, 200 m, not far from a known underwater cave system. The discovery was tantalizing. For centuries, the area had been surrounded by rumors and legends of sunken civilizations and lost cities. And now, tangible evidence, something real, awaited exploration. The most remarkable feature of the Cabo de San Antonio ruins is their sheer scale. Submerged stone walls, large foundations, and rectangular structures resembling platforms or roads are spread across the seabed, forming a pattern suggesting a once thriving city or settlement. Some stonework indicates advanced masonry, suggesting precise and careful construction. As researchers study the site, some have even noted what appear to be pyramidal or step formations, further fueling speculation about the ruins' purpose and importance. What is most striking about these ruins is their age and location. The site is tentatively dated to be over 1,000 years old, though its exact age is uncertain. Some scholars propose the structures belong to an ancient pre-Columbian civilization, perhaps a precursor to Mesoamerican cultures like the Maya or Memic. But how could such a civilization have existed on an island as remote as Cuba? And why would they build such an elaborate, clearly significant settlement only to let it sink? Some explanations point to a natural disaster so catastrophic it could submerge an entire city. Earthquakes, tsunamis, or other seismic events are plausible in the tectonically active Caribbean. Yet, the lack of definitive evidence for a single catastrophic event complicates this theory. Could the settlement have gradually succumbed to rising sea levels over centuries? A slow, silent drowning that erased it from history? Others suggest the ruins are much older, possibly predating known human settlements in the Caribbean by thousands of years. If so, it could imply the existence of an ancient, long-forgotten civilization that somehow mastered construction and engineering skills only recently rediscovered. Could the Cabo de San Antonio ruins be evidence of a civilization that developed in isolation long before recorded history? This possibility is intriguing, but unproven, leaving only questions. Recent exploration has revealed even more perplexing features. Divers report seeing large stone blocks with intricate carvings, symbols, and patterns that seem to tell a story or hold a deeper meaning. However, these symbols remain undeciphered, their significance debated. Are they remnants of a lost culture's religious or ceremonial practices, or purely decorative? Equally puzzling is that the ruins appear perfectly aligned with certain celestial bodies, suggesting builders had a deep understanding of astronomy. This leads some researchers to wonder if the settlement was not just a center of daily life, but also a place of religious or astronomical significance. Could the structures have served purposes beyond habitation, designed to align with the stars, marking time, or serving as a cosmic observatory? Despite all this, a troubling aspect is how little we know about the site. Its depth and surrounding underwater terrain make thorough exploration dangerous and expensive. Most research relies on sonar, scans, photos from underwater robots, and limited dives. While the ruins are real, many details, their purpose, creator's identity, submersion circumstances remain lost in the depths. Some fringe theories suggest the ruins might be evidence of an ancient seafaring culture capable of navigating vast distances long before the age of discovery. Could they be remnants of a forgotten civilization that spanned the Caribbean and beyond? Or even remnants of the legendary Atlantis? At this point, these theories are speculative and difficult to substantiate without more concrete evidence. What we do know is that the Cabo de San Antonio ruins are real, one example of the many mysteries hidden beneath our oceans. As long as the site is largely unexplored, questions will persist. Why did this settlement vanish beneath the sea? Was it a natural disaster, or was something more mysterious? And what other secrets lie in the depths? Each discovery reminds us that the ocean holds countless enigmas, some potentially shedding light on the ancient past, others perhaps remaining forever out of reach. The Cabo de San Antonio ruins are a piece of this larger puzzle. Perhaps with time, we'll uncover the full story beneath the waves. As the water shifts over the ruins, what remains hidden, lost, or forgotten? What lies beneath, waiting to be revealed? The Karama stone structures. Far beneath the calm, crystal-clear waters surrounding Japan's Karama Islands in the Okinawa Prefecture lies an underwater site that has intrigued divers and archaeologists for decades. The Karama stone structures discovered in the 1990s. These submerged formations have perplexed researchers with their apparent design and precise construction. Spread across the seafloor at depths ranging from 20 to 30 m, the stone formations resemble a series of walls, terraces, and platforms. Not unlike ancient ruins, the site itself is difficult to access due to its location in the vast Pacific. But the shapes and structures visible through the blue waters raise more questions than answers. The most striking aspect of the Karama stone structures is the unnatural arrangement of massive stones. Unlike typical natural underwater formations like coral reefs or volcanic rock, these stones appear to have been intentionally placed. Large rectangular blocks, some weighing several tons, are aligned with startling precision, some forming straight lines, others arranged in geometric patterns, creating an eerie impression of purposeful construction. While some researchers are inclined to dismiss the site as a natural geological formation, others argue that it exhibits too much evidence of design to be purely coincidental. The stones, which appear to have been quarried, show smooth faces, sharp angles, and an overall symmetry, suggesting human craftsmanship or involvement of an intelligent force capable of monumental engineering. But if these structures are man-made, who constructed them? Why? When? And for what purpose? These questions remain unanswered. Theories about the Karama stone structure's origins range from conventional to speculative. Mainstream theory suggests these stones may be the remnants of an ancient harbor, part of a long-lost civilization that thrived in the region. Could they belong to an early Japanese settlement dating back thousands of years? The idea of an ancient maritime culture with sophisticated engineering knowledge is plausible given Japan's rich seafaring history. If so, why did such a settlement submerge? Geological theories are also widely considered, proposing the structures were part of a naturally occurring submerged land formation, reshaped by erosion or environmental factors. However, this theory doesn't easily explain the stone's precision in alignment and construction. Nature can create curious formations, but the evidence at Karama suggests a level of organization indicating intentional human intervention rather than randomness. Then there are more speculative theories venturing into the extraordinary. Could the Carstone structures be evidence of an ancient lost civilization with technological prowess far beyond our current understanding? The idea that an advanced civilization may have once lived in the area, possibly predating recorded history, is tantalizing. If true, what other secrets might lie submerged around Japan? Could this site be the remnants of a forgotten empire lost to time and natural catastrophe? Some even suggest the structures could be remains of a more enigmatic, perhaps mythological culture, the work of an advanced race existing long before the first human civilizations were recorded. This theory links the structures not just to an ancient past, but to a time when possibly lost civilizations reach far beyond our understanding of early human development. Is it possible the structures are remnants of such an extraordinary culture whose existence has been erased from history? Perhaps more intriguing is the possibility that the Kama stone structures are older than currently believed. Some estimates place their construction as far back as 10,000 years ago, a time long before early Japan's rise, when seas were lower and now submerged land masses were above water. Could these structures have been part of an island drowned by rising sea levels after the last ice age? The idea of a prehistoric culture existing before historical records could fundamentally change our view of early human civilization. Another intriguing possibility is a connection to the ancient and largely unexplained Yunani monument southwest of the Kurama Islands. Another submerged site with massive stone formations and geometric shapes. Some believe the two sites are connected, possibly forming part of a broader network of lost cities or ancient underwater ruins in the region. Could the Kurama structures be part of a larger ancient maritime trade system connecting distant lost cultures? Despite these theories, the truth remains elusive. To date, no comprehensive excavation or study has been conducted due to the site's depth and exploration challenges. With limited technology and resources, researchers can only speculate on the Kurama stone structure's purpose. Some believe that as underwater archaeology advances, more answers will emerge. But for now, the mystery persists. As we dive deeper into the ocean's secrets, the Kurama stone structures stand as an enigmatic testament to our past complexities. The ocean has long been a repository for civilization remnants swallowed by time and tides. Each new discovery beneath the surface reminds us how much history remains hidden, waiting to be unearthed. Were these stone formations work of an ancient civilization or nature's sculpting? Will we ever understand their story, or will they remain a puzzle of the deep, offering only tantalizing glimpses into a forgotten past? Perhaps more will be revealed with time. But until then, we are left with more questions than answers, and an enduring sense of mystery about what lies beneath the sea. The stone circles off Malta, as the Mediterranean waves gently lap against Malta's rocky shores. Just off its northern coast lies an underwater enigma, a series of stone circles buried beneath the sea. At first glance, these submerged formations appear to be remnants of ancient megalithic structures eerily similar to the famous stone circles in the United Kingdom, like Stonehenge. However, these stones are not on land. They rest on the seafloor, some 120 feet beneath the surface, concealed by the weight of time in the ocean. The discovery of the stone circles off Malta's coast was made in the early 20th century. Yet, the site has remained shrouded in mystery. Divers exploring the island's waters began reporting large stone formations in the 1950s. Over the decades, these submerged circles have attracted increasing attention from archaeologists and historians, sparking debates about their origins and purpose. What do these submerged stone structures signify? Were they once part of an ancient civilization, or are they natural geological formations? The site is scattered with large, carefully arranged stones forming rings in circular patterns, many several meters in diameter with alignments appearing deliberate. Their exact purpose, whether ritualistic, astronomical, or something else, remains unknown. Some circles feature a single large stone at the center, similar to Stonehenge, while others have smaller stones arranged in symmetrical concentric patterns, suggesting purpose rather than randomness. Archaeologists have long debated whether these underwater stone circles were man-made or natural. Some suggest the stones may have been part of an ancient temple or burial site lost to time and submerged. Others propose the formation was a stone harbor built by an ancient civilization thriving in the Mediterranean. But how did such structures end up beneath the waves? The most widely accepted explanation is that these stone circles were once part of a settlement submerged by rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age. Thousands of years ago, during a warmer period, much of the Mediterranean was a vast, sunken landscape. In this view, the stone circles might have been built by people on what was once dry land, only to be gradually engulfed by rising waters over time, leaving only the ruins. If the site resulted from rising sea levels, construction would date to a time when the Mediterranean was very different. Some estimates place these formations as far back as 10,000 years ago, when Malta was part of a larger land mass stretching into the Mediterranean. The idea of a lost ancient civilization on now submerged land is both intriguing and unsettling. Could these stone circles be evidence of a forgotten society erased by the ocean? Yet the mystery deepens considering the stone's craftsmanship, their precise arrangement, and size raise the question, could a civilization with such advanced engineering and stonework knowledge simply disappear without a trace? Or do the stones serve a purpose beyond simple construction, something symbolic, transcending the practical? Beyond conventional theories or more unusual explanations, could the stone circles be part of an ancient lost astronomical observation system like stone circles elsewhere? Their alignment with celestial bodies and seasonal changes might suggest builders understood star movements. Some posit these stones are remnants of an advanced civilization with knowledge of astronomy and mathematics far ahead of its time. Could these ancient peoples have used the circles for rituals, tracking seasons, or marking celestial events? Some also suggest the circles aren't human-made, proposing they're part of an older pre-human civilization or built by extraterrestrial beings. These unproven theories invite thinking beyond known history, questioning what we might be overlooking about ancient civilizations. Intriguingly, no one knows exactly how many stone circles exist off Malta's coast. Murky depths and archaeology challenges make full exploration difficult. The circles may continue to exist submerged, holding secrets and answers just out of reach. What lies in the Mediterranean depths could change our understanding of early human history. If only we could unlock these ancient stones' mystery. Some researchers believe further exploration could reveal more about the circle's structure and purpose. Advances in underwater archaeology and technology might one day allow full uncovering of this submerged site. Until then, we have tantalizing glimpses of a world lost beneath the waves and stone circles defying explanation. What do these mysterious formations mean? Remnants of a lost civilization submerged by rising seas, or something older and more enigmatic? The questions persist, waiting for answers, hidden in the Mediterranean depths. Gazing at the still waters, we're reminded how much is hidden beneath. Waiting discovery. The underwater temple. In Lake Titicaca, as the sun rises over the vast expanse of Lake Titicaca, its golden rays reflect off the rippling waters, creating fleeting ethereal patterns on the surface. Nestled high in the Andes, straddling the border between Peru and Bolivia, Lake Titicaca is not only South America's largest freshwater lake, but also one of the world's highest navigable lakes. Its tranquil yet deep waters have long been subjects of myth, reverence, and mystery. For centuries, indigenous peoples have considered the lake sacred, a place where, according to ancient beliefs, the sun and moon were born. But beneath the extraordinary lake's calm surface lies a secret that has both intrigued and puzzled historians and archaeologists for decades. an underwater temple hidden in the depths, awaiting discovery. In the early 2000s, a team of underwater explorers led by American archaeologist Dr. Gregory L.S. ventured into Lake Titicaca's murky waters with sonar equipment and diving gear, aiming not only to explore the depths, but to uncover the possibility of a long-forgotten structure. What they discovered was astonishing and perplexing. A complex of stone ruins eerily reminiscent of ancient temples lying over 30 feet below the surface. The underwater structure consists of large stone blocks meticulously arranged in what appears to be a series of platforms or terraces mirroring the architectural style of other ancient sites in the region. Stone walls, submerged staircases, and what seem to be ceremonial platforms all point to a significant site carefully crafted and intentionally placed beneath Lake Titicaca's waters. But why would such a structure be submerged? What was its purpose? And how did it end up hidden underwater? To understand, or begin to understand, one must consider the lake's cultural and historical context. For millennia, Lake Titicaca has been considered the cradle of ancient Andean civilization, believed to be the birthplace of the Inca Empire, where the great god Viracha emerged from the waters to create the world and, according to local legend, gave life to the first humans. These myths were vital not only to the Inca, but were deeply ingrained in the belief systems of many pre-Inca cultures that flourished along the lake shores, such as the Tiwanaku and Pucara civilizations. The lake's significance is immense. Throughout history, civilizations built grand structures near its shores to harness its spiritual and mystical energy. Archaeologists have uncovered numerous temples, ceremonial sites, and settlements around the lake. Some like the Isla del Sol and Isla de Luna revered for their connection to ancient Inca cosmology. But despite the wealth of artifacts and ruins found on the lake's surface and surrounding islands, no one anticipated what lay beneath the waters. The discovery of the underwater temple challenges conventional understanding. While submerged structures exist elsewhere, this discovery's context is remarkable. The idea that a sacred temple potentially built by a pre-Inca civilization or early Incas could be hidden in a lake considered divine is deeply intriguing. Some scholars suggest the temple was deliberately submerged as part of an ancient ritual or as a symbol of rebirth, as water is often a boundary between life and death in many ancient cultures. And Lake Titicaca held special significance as a portal to the afterlife for Andean peoples. Could the temple have been intentionally sunk as an offering or to mark a spiritual cycle's end? Others speculate that rising lake waters due to climatic changes or tectonic activity may have gradually submerged the temple. Ancient civilizations often experience sudden environmental shifts leading to the loss of sacred sites swallowed by encroaching waters. Perhaps this temple was once on land, a focal point for religious or ceremonial practices, slowly submerged as the lake expanded. Yet another possibility emerges from fringe historians and alternative archaeologists who believe the underwater temple is part of a lost civilization far older than the Incas or Tiwanaku, potentially the last trace of a forgotten culture existing long before known Indian civilizations. The idea of a civilization predating the Inca that vanished beneath the waters is alluring but speculative. Some even suggest the underwater location indicates a sunken society with knowledge and technology far ahead of its time. Could this submerged temple hold secrets to Andean peoples' origins or even more ancient advanced knowledge lost to time? While these theories are intriguing, they remain speculative. However, the existence of the structure itself is undeniable. The perfectly aligned stone blocks and clear signs of human craftsmanship suggest the site was important to its creators. The temple is undoubtedly a monumental discovery with profound implications. Despite the excitement, much remains unknown. The area around the temple is not fully excavated, and the lake's depths challenge underwater archaeologists. As technology improves, further exploration may reveal more about the temple's purpose and creators. Could more be hidden beneath Lake Titicaca's surface? What other ancient secrets does the lake hold? For now, the submerged temple remains one of the most intriguing and mysterious underwater discoveries globally. A reminder of hidden histories beneath the water surface, waiting to be uncovered. As waters lap the sacred lake's shores, the question remains, what else in the deep awaits discovery? The submerged bridge of Dvarka. As the waves of the Arabian Sea gently lap against India's western coast, a submerged structure shrouded in history and mystery lies beneath the water. Dvarka's submerged bridge. This ancient site deep beneath the surface has captivated explorers, archaeologists, and mystics for centuries. The story of Dwara, once a thriving city at the Gambi River's mouth, is intertwined with legend. Its association with the Hindu god Krishna, making it a subject of religious reverence and speculative interest. The city itself is mentioned in numerous ancient texts, including the Mahabharata, described as an awe-inspiring metropolis with towering walls, golden streets, and surrounded by the sea. According to ancient stories, Dwara was Krishna's kingdom, a place of unparalleled wealth and divine power. But the myth says this magnificent city was eventually submerged after Krishna's departure. For many, the tale of Dvarka's drowning was a myth, an allegory for a divine kingdom's fall. However, like many myths, elements of truth may lie beneath the surface. In the 1980s, marine archaeologists and researchers began identifying submerged ruins off modern Dvarka, the first signs of something tangible beneath the waves. Using sonar imaging, they found stone structures, large square blocks, and pillars arranged in patterns suggesting human intervention. Further exploration revealed more clues, city outlines, wall and pathway remnants, and what seemed to be a bridge connecting the submerged city to the mainland. This underwater structure, often called Dvarka's submerged bridge, is particularly intriguing. It appears as a long stretch of stones in a straight line from the shore into the Arabian Sea depths. Its purpose is unclear. Some speculate it was part of the city's ancient infrastructure, connecting Dwara to the wider world. Others suggest it was a ceremonial structure, possibly honoring Krishna or symbolizing the city's divine status. The discovery of this submerged bridge raises questions. How could such a large bridge be built thousands of years ago only to vanish? Was it an advanced engineering project ahead of its time? If so, why was it submerged intentionally or otherwise? The most widely accepted explanation is rising sea levels after the last ice age around 12,000 years ago. As global temperatures rose, glaciers melted, and sea levels dramatically increased, submerging coastal settlements worldwide. In this view, the stone structures and bridge were part of a thriving land city slowly overtaken by the encroaching sea. However, this explanation doesn't cover some curious details. The arrangement of stone blocks, their apparent precision, and the underwater structure scale suggest Dvarka may have been far more advanced than many admit. The stones near the site don't seem random or naturally formed. They show human craftsmanship, their alignment suggesting deliberate, purposeful construction. Some researchers suggest these submerged structures are far older than rising sea levels, possibly predating conventional history. Could this be evidence of an ancient civilization advanced in ways we don't fully understand? The Mahabharata describes Dvarka as a place of great wealth built by gods, possibly with technologies no longer available. Could the submerged bridge be a remnant of such a civilization, mastering architecture and nature beyond our comprehension? Beyond mainstream explanations, speculative theories exist. Some believe Dwarka and its bridge are remnants of a lost civilization older than known Indian cultures, with proponents pointing to the advanced underwater structures as evidence of technologies later lost. Could Dvarka have been a technological and cultural hub whose advancements were wiped out by a cataclysmic event and swallowed by the sea? Adding to the mystery, Local legends describe Dvarka's sinking in terms strikingly similar to other ancient submerged cities worldwide. Many myths describe sudden violent flooding of cities or civilizations. Could Dvarka's submersion story be based on a real catastrophe that swept away a great city, leaving only remnants in myth and folklore? And what of the bridge itself? Was it truly a bridge, a causeway, a sacred path for rituals connecting the city to the divine, or a practical structure for trade? Regardless of function, its existence beneath the sea hints at something more complex than a sunken city. The submerged ruins of Dvarka, including the enigmatic bridge, remain a subject of intense speculation. While some scholars point to rising sea levels and natural submersion, the stonework's peculiar precision and the site scale suggest more to the mystery. Perhaps Dvarka's ruins hold secrets beyond our understanding. What happened to Dvarka? A city lost to time and nature, or a remnant of an older, more advanced civilization? Could the submerged bridge be key to understanding a forgotten world whose rise and fall were recorded not in history, but in the deep, quiet Arabian Sea? As we explore this submerged site, we're left with more questions than answers, wondering what else is hidden beneath the waves, waiting to be revealed. The submerged columns of Alexandria. As the Mediterranean waters gently lap against the shores of Alexandria, Egypt, a hidden mystery lies just beneath the surface. A submerged world of ancient stone columns, their marble and granite. Forms rising from the deep, silent witnesses to a civilization long past. The submerged columns near Alexandria are more than relics of a forgotten age. They are a poignant reminder of a time when the city was a beacon of learning, culture, and power. An intellectual and architectural marvel. These columns resting in the clear waters just off the coast were part of what was once the pharaohs of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Although the great lighthouse built in the 3rd century B.C. no longer stands, it is said to have guided ships safely into the harbor, its light visible for miles. Today, only remnants of this ancient wonder remain, including the submerged columns, their bases firmly planted on the ocean floor, their tops faintly visible in the shifting tides. As divers and archaeologists have explored the site, they have uncovered a series of ancient structures and statues, including these striking stone columns, believed to be part of a grand portico or a temple complex that once stood at the harbor's edge. They are intricately carved and adorned with designs speaking of a sophisticated civilization that blended art, science, and architecture with unparalleled mastery. The sheer scale of these columns suggests a monumental city rivaling anything imaginable today. Yet the questions surrounding the submerged columns extend beyond what was once there, focusing on what might have happened to it. How did these massive, enduring structures end up beneath the waves? The most widely accepted theory is that a combination of natural disasters, earthquakes, and tsunamis contributed to the sinking of Alexandria's coastal areas. Over time, the city, already affected by multiple seismic events, succumbed to the pressures of the shifting tectonic plates beneath the Mediterranean, causing parts of its magnificent harbor and surrounding buildings to slip beneath the sea surface. However, the destruction scale suggested by the submerged ruins raises a crucial question. Were only natural forces at play, or was there more to the story? Could human intervention have played a role in these monumental structures' destruction? Ancient texts mention the city's fall and threats it faced from external invasions to internal political upheaval, but none offer a clear explanation for the sudden disappearance of Alexandria's harbor and its monumental buildings. Some archaeologists propose the submerged columns and other ruins are part of a larger, more complex architectural site than currently understood. The structures may have been part of a temple dedicated to the gods, with columns serving as sacred markers aligned with stars or celestial events. Alexandria was home to the famous library, a repository of knowledge and a hub of scientific study where scholars like Euclid and Archimedes worked. Could the city's architects and engineers have had a deeper understanding of astronomy and geology, integrating cosmic and earthly knowledge into their buildings? These columns rising from the sea could then be seen not just as physical remnants, but symbols of a greater lost knowledge, potentially lost to time in the ocean. While mainstream theories suggest natural disaster or gradual submergence due to rising sea levels, more speculative ideas exist about Alexandria's submerged remains. Some propose the city's fall wasn't purely due to geological forces, but a catastrophic event involving unknown technologies or an unexplained natural force. Could ancient Alexandria have accessed knowledge or resources enabling such monumental structures? Resources lost after a forgotten calamity. This links to mysteries of other sunken cities vanishing seemingly without explanation, leaving only fragments. The submerged columns of Alexandria may be part of a larger pattern of ancient technologically advanced cities lost to time, their secrets resting just below the surface. Recently, some explorers suggest the submerged columns near Alexandria aren't the only hidden treasures. Evidence of other buildings, statues, and streets has been uncovered, suggesting an entire sunken city beneath the Mediterranean. What if this city is far older than believed? Its columns marking remnants of a pre-Greek civilization with technologies far more advanced than realized. This leads to the core mystery. What really happened to Alexandria's submerged ruins? While natural disasters are plausible, they don't explain every detail. The presence of carefully constructed columns and symmetrical patterns suggests a sophistication not perfectly aligning with current explanations. It raises the question, could this grand city have fallen not just due to tectonic shifts, but because it became too powerful or knowledgeable, holding secrets that could reshape history if revealed? And there's the mystery of the pharaoh's lighthouse, one of the tallest structures of its time, potentially powered by advanced engineering principles we haven't yet uncovered. Could the lighthouse and city have had other purposes beyond guiding sailors, possibly related to astronomical observation or energy generation? If so, what happened to that knowledge? Reflecting on the submerged columns near Alexandria, we're reminded they're more than stones. They're artifacts of a lost civilization whose achievements are now lost to time and tide. What remains of Alexandria's harbor, drowned temples, and streets leaves more questions than answers. What was the true purpose of these buildings? And what other knowledge lies hidden beneath the Mediterranean waters? The mystery persists, and as long as the columns rise from the deep, they'll whisper secrets of a bygone world. Secrets we may not be ready to understand. What stories do they hold? What truths lie beneath the waves waiting to be uncovered? The underwater roads of Namidal beneath the warm azure waters of the Pacific Ocean off the eastern coast of Pompeii lies a network of submerged ruins that have long fascinated explorers and researchers. The underwater roads of Namidal, often called the Venice of the Pacific, constitute one of the world's most captivating and mysterious underwater sites, resembling roads leading into the depths of time. These submerged stone structures hint at a once thriving city lost to the sea, buried under centuries of shifting tides and rising waters. Namidal, an ancient city built on artificial islands on the coral reef of Pompeii in the Federated States of Micronesia, was a ceremonial and political center believed to be the home of powerful rulers and priests. The city's structures made of massive basalt stones are arranged in neat planned rows forming solid walls and intricate pathways crisscrossing the islands. Today, these structures are shrouded in mystery, their origins and purpose still subjects of intense speculation. While Namidal sits above the waterline, the roads leading to it and the canals within it extend far beneath the surface. These submerged pathways, largely unexplored, suggest the ancient people of Namidal had an intricate understanding of engineering and the natural world. How were these roads created, and what was their purpose? What remains hidden beneath the surface? And what secrets might these submerged roads reveal about the lost civilization of Namidal? The underwater roads are part of a complex system spanning multiple islands connecting different sections of the city. The stones forming these roads are said to have been transported from distant locations some miles away. The process of moving such large stones weighing several tons has sparked debate. Some theories suggest simple tools and methods were used to drag, roll, or float the stones. However, the task's sheer scale raises questions. Was this feat of engineering truly accomplished with only the technology available then? Or was there more at play? Could these meticulously laid out roads have been part of a grand design we are only beginning to understand? Besides the roads, submerged ruins include underground chambers and stone platforms, many seemingly part of ceremonial or religious practices. These chambers, some below the waterline, suggest the city had a sacred purpose, perhaps for rituals, spiritual ceremonies, or interments. The city's layout suggests a highly organized, sophisticated society with artistic and architectural prowess. However, beyond verified facts lies speculation. Some researchers propose the submerged roads and ruins aren't just remnants of a city destroyed by nature. They suggest the underwater paths could be remnants of a civilization aware of or even intending to build their city in harmony with the water. Could the city have been designed with an understanding of tides, water movement, and natural forces? Was Nan Madol built in constant dialogue with the sea, its roads symbolic of peoples' connection to the natural world? Adding to the mystery are myths and legends about Nanol's creation. Local traditions speak of the Sadler dynasty, said to have established the city and possessed godlike powers to command nature. Some accounts suggest construction was aided by supernatural means, stones moved by spirits or gods. Could Nan Madol's intricate design be evidence of a civilization with knowledge and capabilities surpassing our current comprehension? Beyond local legends, more speculative theories suggest the submerged roads and islands were the work of a lost ancient civilization, older and more advanced than we realize. Proponents point to similar megalithic structures elsewhere, suggesting ancient civilizations were connected by more than trade, perhaps sharing knowledge of architecture, engineering, and celestial alignment lost to history. Could Nan Madol be a remnant of such a civilization? Its knowledge buried beneath the waves. As we explore Nan Madol's submerged ruins, we face more questions than answers. What happened to the city? Lost to natural events like rising sea levels, earthquakes, or tsunamis? Or was there intentional gradual sinking aligning with tidal rhythms? Was Nan Madol meant to interact with water, its roads and platforms, part of the sea's natural flow, rather than just human structures? These questions are unanswered, leaving us to wonder about secrets beneath the ocean. What if submerged roads are messages from a forgotten civilization waiting decoding? What if Nan Madol's mysteries are deeper than imagined, revealing a lost world of knowledge we've only begun to uncover? Nan Madol's underwater roads continue to pique curiosity, drawing us into the past. As researchers dive deeper for clues to the city's purpose and origin, they may one day find the final piece. Until then, Nan Madol remains a great underwater mystery. Its roads and ruins silently awaiting the day its secrets are revealed. The sunken walls of Lake Van. As morning mist rises off Lake Van in Turkey Key's eastern highlands, a quiet mystery lies beneath the surface. The lake's deep cobalt waters conceal ancient remnants hidden in plain sight for centuries. Beneath these tranquil depths lie sunken stone walls, largely unexplored and unexplained, casting a long shadow over the region's history. Lake Van is a vast saline body of water framed by rugged mountains and echoes of past civilizations, often still mirroring its dramatic landscapes and largely unchanged for millennia. Yet deep below, astonishingly, lie large, perfectly constructed stone walls. Their presence is unsettling, an anomaly raising more questions than answers. These submerged structures were first documented in the late 1980s, though local fishermen spoke of strange objects in the depths. The wall's precise nature remains a mystery. Who built them, when, and why? Observed, the walls are startlingly precise, stretching along the lake floor, made of large-shaped stone blocks, some weighing several tons, resembling megalithic structures elsewhere. Arranged in long, straight lines, they look like remnants of a fortified city wall or ancient settlement boundaries. Some stones even resemble those in ancient Armenian and Urarian structures, suggesting they date back to the Urarian kingdom around 800 BCE. Known for its advanced engineering and architectural feats like fortresses and walls. Yet, despite craftsmanship, the submerged wall's purpose is elusive. Some archaeologists suggest they are remnants of a forgotten settlement that bordered Lake Van, submerged as the lake's waters rose over centuries, inundating once dry land. If true, they represent a lost civilization overtaken by rising waters. However, other experts question this. Why build a settlement where rising waters could easily submerge it? Could these walls be intentionally built underwater for unknown purposes, tied to the beliefs or practices of the inhabitants? Perhaps remnants of ritual sites for offerings or ceremonies submerged accidentally or deliberately. Their deep underwater locations suggests intentional design beyond practicality. Some researchers propose the walls connect to the Urarian kingdom's complex fortifications, roads, and ceremonial sites. Urantians built fortified cities with massive stone walls, and some speculate these submerged walls are remnants of a border defense system against invaders. A vital strategic location now lost beneath the lake. While plausible, this connection has contradictions. Urians typically didn't build underwater. Could these walls be part of an older civilization predating Urian by thousands of years? A lost pre-Urian culture preserved underwater for unknown reasons. Speculation abounds, but definitive answers elude us. The mystery deepens considering Lake Van's other oddities, an area rich in ancient stories and legends. Local myths speak of the lake as a place of great power, sacred, thought to hold divine significance, even home to mythical creatures or possessing mystical properties. Could the submerged stone walls linked to these legends? Was this site a gateway to another world? Walls serving as a physical barrier? Was the lake itself sacred? Walls built as part of rituals to honor or commune with forces beyond human comprehension. Even with these theories, another possibility exists. The sunken walls are part of a grander, more mysterious puzzle we're just starting to comprehend. Some fringe researchers' theory suggests the site is much older, a remnant of an advanced civilization lost to time and elements, possessing knowledge of engineering, astronomy, or even aquatic technologies beyond our current understanding. These submerged structures, in this view, aren't forgotten relics, but clues to a lost history, challenging what we know about human civilization's rise. Lake Van's submerged walls remain largely unexplored, their origin unresolved. As attention turns to this enigmatic site, questions persist. Natural forces or built by people whose knowledge is forgotten, lake level rise, or a deeper symbolic reason for their descent. As divers and archaeologists study Lake Van's submerged secrets, one thing is clear. The mystery of the sunken stone walls is far from solved. Perhaps answers will emerge from the shadows, shedding light on a hidden past. Until then, the submerged ruins call to those seeking to unravel deep mysteries. The submerged terraces of Okinawa. The vast and mysterious sea holds many secrets beneath its surface, some buried off the coast of Okinawa, Japan. In the shadowy depths of the Pacific Ocean, just off the island's northern coast, exists a hidden world of terraces, walls, and structures unlike anything typically found in nature. The submerged terraces of Okinawa are an enigma that has drawn intrigue and speculation for decades. They suggest the presence of an ancient civilization, a culture that may have once flourished in this area, leaving behind an intricate, forgotten legacy now swallowed by the sea. These terraces are situated in waters approximately 30 m deep, undisturbed by modern human activity, resembling agricultural terraces found worldwide, where civilizations historically created tiered platforms for crops on steep terrain. However, unlike known agricultural terraces, these are submerged, facing time in the encroaching ocean. Rows of perfectly cut stone steps cascade down from submerged ridges, forming distinct terraces, rising and falling in a pattern seeming almost too deliberate, too symmetrical for a natural formation. The sight of these terraces bathed in the ocean's soft blue glow evokes an image of a long-lost civilization that once thrived here in ways we may not fully comprehend. Though submerged, the terraces are remarkably well preserved, showing clear human craftsmanship. The stones used are large, square, and rectangular blocks fitting together with precision, a skill not typical of natural formations. Some researchers believe these terraces could date back thousands of years, perhaps before written history in the region. Their existence challenges our understanding of Pacific human activity timelines, raising the question, could these submerged terraces be remnants of a civilization far older than any currently known? The mystery of these terraces surfaced in the 1990s when local fishermen and divers reported unusual underwater features. Subsequent investigations by marine archaeologists revealed the terraces' extent, identifying them as more than natural formations. The stones' precise alignment, consistent measurements, and overall design pointed to human origin. Yet, who built these structures and why? The mystery only deepened. Mainstream scholars proposed several explanations. One theory suggests they were part of an ancient agricultural system for crops on difficult terrain. Given Okinawa's history of cultivation, early inhabitants constructing terraces to maximize arable land, like terrace rice paddies in Southeast Asia, is conceivable. Over time, rising sea levels could have gradually submerged them. However, this theory doesn't explain peculiarities. Many stones appear carefully cut and shaped, suggesting craftsmanship beyond simple agricultural needs. Some are so large transporting and placing them would be extraordinary without modern tools. Could this suggest builders had advanced engineering knowledge beyond historical records? Furthermore, the terrace's geometric layout suggests purposeful design, perhaps having a deeper significance beyond utilitarian use, possibly part of a larger complex, city, or ceremonial site. The idea of these terraces being more than agricultural, perhaps part of a spiritual or ritualistic complex where ancient people connected with land and sea, is compelling. As researchers delve deeper, fringe theories emerge. Some speculate that terrace is evidence a lost civilization predating known historical cultures, perhaps existing before Polynesians or Aranesians. Proponents suggest builders were part of a forgotten culture with knowledge of seas and advanced construction techniques lost when their civilization vanished. Others raised the possibility of terraces being part of a network of submerged structures, perhaps an underwater city across the region. If such a civilization existed, what caused its disappearance? Could this be evidence of a global catastrophe submerging vast land areas and civilizations? The idea of a lost, sunken civilization is a widespread theory, with Okinawa's submerged terraces potentially another piece of the puzzle hinting at a larger undiscovered human history. Despite allure, no concrete evidence supports these theories. The submerged terraces remain a mystery, their true purpose and origin hidden. Could they hold the key to understanding early Pacific human history? Or are they a symbol of a lost past, a testament to a civilization's ingenuity and resilience, leaving only cryptic clues? As Okinawa waters lapstone formations, one thing is certain. The terraces beckon, their mystery persistent. What stories do ancient stones hold? What knowledge have they kept hidden? Answers may lie beneath waves waiting revelation. The stone pavements of Saipan. As the sun sets over the Pacific, casting golden light on Saipan, something enigmatic lies just beneath the surface. Off this remote island's coast, in the clear, deep blue sea stretches an unusual stone pavement. An ancient submerged pathway. Intriguing explorers, archaeologists, and divers discovered in the 1990s these pavements aren't natural formations, but seem deliberately arranged. They appear as a crafted network of large flat stones, perfectly aligned like roads or terraces leading into the ocean's depths. From the surface, the sight is disorienting. Water shimmers above, making the pavement seem to glow, reflecting light eerily. Some stones are square, others rectangular, forming a grid pattern mirroring sophisticated ancient stonework. Yet this arrangement suggests it wasn't built by modern hands. The pavement stretches hundreds of meters, gradually descending, clearly far older than the modern era. Its layout with sharp corners and consistent spacing indicates a specific purpose. What could it be? Why build such a structure here off Saipan, where no known civilization existed? Saipan, a small northern Mariana Islands island, has a rich history, but is less explored than famed ancient civilizations. It's seen various cultures: early Chamorro, Spanish colonists, Americans during Web before, but none known to create anything resembling these pavements. So, who built them and when? Mainstream historians and archaeologists initially attributed them to natural geological formations, part of an ancient coral reef rearranged by nature. However, this fails to explain precise alignment, uniform size, sure shape, and human craftsmanship signs. These aren't ordinary rocks, and the more one examines the pavement, the less likely nature alone is the builder. Could this be evidence of an ancient, unknown civilization? If so, why construct a vast underwater stone structure? One possibility: these pavements were part of a city or settlement lost due to rising sea levels proposed for other submerged ruins like India's Dwarka. Could Saipan stone pavements be part of a similar sunken ancient site? The idea of a forgotten civilization submerged is captivating and unsettling. Adding to the mystery is Chamorro legend. Chamorro people inhabiting the Maranas for thousands of years speak of a submerged city or network of ancient roads beneath the sea. These legends passed down or highlighted by the Saipan pavements. Some locals believe these roads connect to their ancestors' stories, adding spiritual significance. Could these pavements be more than physical structures, representations of an ancient world steeped in symbolism connected to a spiritual realm we don't fully understand? Fringe theories go further. Some suggest the pavements aren't just lost civilization remnants, but something far older, possibly extraterrestrial. Could perfectly aligned placed stones be the work of non-human beings? Could structures serve a purpose beyond conception linked to advanced technology or lost navigation? While speculative, alien influence on ancient civilizations has long captured imaginations, and Saipan's strange pavements fuel this. Then the theory of a ritualistic complex built not for practical use, but spiritual ceremonial purposes. In many cultures, roads symbolize journeys through life, death, or cosmos. Could these submerged stone roads have been a sacred pathway to the afterlife or divine place? The idea stones weren't just utilitarian, but profoundly significant adds intrigue. As divers explore, questions arise. What lies beneath the pavement? Deeper gateway to a larger city, to civilization. If the pavement extended above water, what evidence awaits discovery? Some speculate further ruins are just beyond current exploration. The sea is vast, unforgiving, obscuring secrets time may reveal. Sip and stone pavements remain an enigma, challenging history understanding, ancient civilization work or something else, practical or deeply symbolic. Most tantalizing, what else does the sea hide? As sunset casts shadows on Saipan, pavements hold secrets silently. Perhaps truth will be uncovered. For now, they remind us past, however ancient forgotten, holds mysteries hidden beneath water. The sunken towers of Zakynthos. As the warm Mediterranean sun kisses the horizon, the island of Zakynthos rests quietly in its embrace. Its rugged cliffs, and turquoise waters inviting. Curiosity. Just offshore, hidden beneath a shimmering surface, lies an enigma, an underwater mystery that has perplexed divers and researchers for years. Sunken towers lie in the deep. Their ancient stones, standing sentinel beneath the waves, offering no clear answers about their origins or purpose. Submerged for millennia, these towers remain a silent testament to a long-lost civilization whose story may never be fully understood. The towers near Zakynthos are not the only underwater ruins in the Mediterranean, but they stand out due to their distinct shape and remarkable preservation. Rising from the seafloor like the skeletal remains of an ancient fortress, these structures are built from large stone blocks meticulously arranged with a precision suggesting deliberate design. Unlike many fragmented underwater ruins, the sunken towers near Zakynthos appear almost as if they were simply dropped into the sea and settled in their current state. The tower's design resembles ancient architectural styles, but their exact age and cultural origin are elusive. They are believed to date back to around the 4th or 5th century BCE, but lacking definitive markers of their creators, speculation about their purpose is rampant. Were they part of a great civilization lost to history? Or do they represent something more enigmatic, a culture that flourished long before the more widely recognized ancient empires? Some scholars suggest they might have been watchtowers protecting the island's coast from pirates or invaders, placing them within the context of ancient Mediterranean defense systems designed to control trade routes and territory. However, research raises questions about why such monumental structures would be placed underwater. If built on land, were other signs of habitation? No associated settlements, temples, or roads have been found, deepening the mystery. Another theory is they were part of an ancient port city that vanished beneath the sea as rising sea levels submerged coastal areas, leaving only remnants. Could these towers have stood on the edge of a thriving metropolis, now hidden underwater? Some believe the structures might be linked to the Manawans, an ancient Aegean and Eastern Mediterranean civilization predating the Greeks, known for their maritime culture and building skills. Although no definitive evidence confirms this link, yet despite these theories, questions about the sunken towers near Zakynthos persist. How did they end up beneath the sea, caused by natural forces like earthquakes or floods, or something more mysterious? Ancient texts and legends speak of catastrophic events, cities swallowed by the sea, lost civilizations, and gods shaping the landscape. Could these towers be remnants of such a lost civilization, submerged by a great disaster, faded into myth? Some speculative theories suggest they are much older than traditionally believed, dating back thousands of years before Minoans or Greeks, perhaps built by a prehistoric culture with more advanced knowledge and technology than we realize. The theory of a lost advanced civilization captivates many, from Atlantis to claims of technologically sophisticated ancient peoples. The idea these towers could be remnants of an undiscovered culture is both tantalizing and unsettling. A more mystical theory ties the towers to divine intervention or cosmic alignment, speculating their positioning as intentional, aligned with celestial bodies, or serving a ritualistic purpose. Could they have been part of a complex designed to connect earthly and heavenly realms? Their submerged nature adds intrigue. What if the sea rising over time submerged not just structures, but the knowledge they contain? Is it possible the towers were not just defensive or urban, but spiritual monuments whose purpose transcended the physical? As divers map the towers and study the seabed, new questions arise. What lies deeper beyond current reach? Other structures or artifacts buried in sand. The more discovered, the more we realize how little we know. The sea is a graveyard of mysteries, hiding civilizations whose remnants may never be fully understood. The mystery of Zakynthos' sunken towers remains unsolved, its secrets locked away. Whether for defense, trade, or spiritual purposes, they stand as testament to a world we can only imagine. As we explore the Mediterranean depths, we must ask, What other ancient wonders lie hidden, waiting for us to unlock their stories? In the deep silence, the sunken towers remain, secrets preserved by the ocean's cold embrace. Perhaps one day, at the right time, we'll uncover the truth about these ancient stones. Until then, they stand as a silent mystery, casting a shadow, leaving us wondering what else the sea hides. Underwater steps off Sicily. As warm Mediterranean waters gently lap Sicily's rocky shores, something lies hidden beneath the surface. An ancient submerged feature baffling divers and archaeologists for years. Off the island's coast, deep beneath the waves, lies a series of underwater steps, their stone structure barely visible through clear blue water. These steps appearing to lead into the sea rise from the seabed in an orderly fashion. Though not large in scale, their very existence is an enigma. Located near Marsom, a small fishing village on Sicily's southeastern coast, the waters here, known for calmness and transparency, are ideal for exploration. When divers first stumbled upon these steps, the discovery was surprising. These are no ordinary natural formations. The stones forming the steps are remarkably precise, with smooth edges and perfect alignment. To a casual observer, they seem to be part of a human-built structure, long submerged by time's rising tides. But how do they get here? Situated in relatively shallow waters, no deeper than 10 m in some areas, they rise gently toward the surface. Their form and pattern suggest a purpose. Was it a harbor providing access for boats or part of a temple complex, a sacred place for ritual immersion? Theories abound, each elusive, leaving more questions than answers. Mainstream theories suggest the steps were part of an ancient port or docking area, perhaps used by Phoenicians, Romans, or earlier civilizations known for maritime expertise. Marseille has a long history with evidence of ancient Phoenician and Greek settlements. It's plausible the steps were for trade or transport, allowing sea access. However, no nearby structures support this, leaving the steps as the sole clue. Others suggest the steps linked to Greek gods, gaining traction for the idea of a ritualistic or religious site. Ancient Greek and Roman temples and sacred spaces were often near or in the sea for worshiper interaction with elements and gods. Could the steps have led to a temple for a sea god like Poseidon or Neptune? If so, what secrets were lost as the sea reclaimed land? Still others entertain more speculative theories, suggesting the steps are part of a lost ancient civilization, older than traditional Sicilian cultures. Could they be built by people more advanced than we realize, predating Greek and Roman settlements by thousands of years? Similar underwater structures like Bimini Road or Dwara in India, some believe evidence are lost. Civilization predating recorded history. The idea of Sicily steps being part of such a culture is intriguing, but lacks concrete support. Another theory attracting attention is that the steps were part of an ancient flood marking remnants of a great city submerged by a cataclysmic event. Historical records from many ancient cultures describe massive floods reshaping coastlines and swallowing cities. Could these steps be the only remaining feature of a civilization destroyed by the sea, a fragment of a lost hub? This narrative is compelling, but evidence is scant, leaving us to wonder if the steps are just a relic of something smaller, lost to time, but not the sea, and then the possibility that the steps are simply a natural formation, a result of geological processes shaping the coastline. Some believe erosion shaped the rock into steps, but this defies explanation for such a precise pattern. Alignment, smooth surfaces, even spacing suggest crafting, not erosion. If human-made, by whom and for what purpose? Perhaps the most intriguing aspect is that we may never know the answers. Like many underwater mysteries, the sea hides secrets under layers of time and water. As divers explore, new discoveries may shed light. But for now, the steps near Sicily remain a silent puzzle, their story locked away. What do they represent? Part of a grand structure claimed by the sea or a mysterious spiritual significance? The steps rise from the seabed, a testament to a past glimpsed before history's tide swallowed it. Gazing into the depths, we wonder what other mysteries lie just beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered.